Emarat's proposal to improve signage installation work in Emarat gas station aims to avoid interference with other ongoing works on site, optimizing the allocated resources and time needed. We will explain the process in a sequence of easy-to-flow animated renders so you can get a full understanding of the proposed methodology. The resources assigned on site will be a total of 12 skilled workers that will be divided into 4 crews. 1 crew for the installation of the unipole, 2 crew for the canopy sign, and 1 crew for the cladding work. Regarding the access equipment, we will have scissor lift, boom lift, and a tower scaffolding. All the work will be coordinated by a project engineer allocated on site, backed up by a project manager. After an initial briefing of the work scope and HSE induction, the first activity that we are proposing to be done on site will be the installation of the unipole. This is because we think that it is in interest of our client to display its brand as early as possible. The estimated time for this activity is 1 to 2 days depending on the wind conditions during the lift crane operations. To start the work on the unipole, we will need to have the 5 foundation work completed by the main contractor. This is so we can start the installation without disturbing other ongoing work on site. The unipole will be pre-assembled in our factory and then transported to site in 2 main pieces. The bottom piece will be uploaded, placed on the anchor plate, leveled and bottled. The bottom and top section of the unipole will be assembled together by a nut and bolt connection. The top and bottom section will come with light boxes pre-installed in our factory, a plug-and-play concept to minimize work on site. The next step will be to quality check the LED lighting to make sure there are no shadows and the overall illumination is correct. The final step is to install the top and bottom covers for the light boxes and do a final QC checking. The estimated overall installation time for the unipole is 1 to 2 days depending on the wind conditions during the lift craning operations. The next activity that we're proposing to be done on site will be the installation of the canopy signage. The estimated time for this activity is 10 days and can be planned in parallel with the unipole installation. Before we start the work, the floor pavement surface needs to be completed and free of obstacles. This will allow the free movement of the scissor lift around the perimeter of the canopy. Work will be much more efficient and safer in comparison to using a typical tower scaffolding. Canopy installation will start with the corner pieces of the perimeter frame. The use of special hook-shaped support will help speed up the installation and ease the correct leveling and alignment work. The frames will be leveled and fixed in all exterior and interior corners of the canopy structure. Work will continue with the installation of the intermediate frames that will be leveled and fixed, filling the spaces until the perimeter of the canopy is completed. The installation of the LED back trays will follow. These modules are factory pre-assembled with the LED chains and will be fixed on the frame until the canopy perimeter is completed. In the same way, the bottom pieces of the LED back trays will also be fixed. The flex faces around the canopy perimeter will be installed next using the approved tensioning system. The Emarat logo will be fully pre-assembled in the factory and will be installed following approved shop drawings. The installation of the top cover and flashing pieces around the canopy perimeter will follow. These will provide a full enclosure on the sign against water and dust. All the electrical components and connections will be carefully QC checked. The full enclosure of the sign will only be done when there is assurance that there are no shadows and the correct lighting values have been achieved. The false ceiling work can be done in parallel once the canopy frame installation is completed. The next activity would be the installation of the column cladding under the canopy. The estimated time for this activity is 5 days and can be planned in parallel with the unipole installation and the canopy sign. The column cladding will start once the pump island construction is completed and there is leveled floor surface. The skirting pieces will be placed in position, leveled and fixed to the pump island floor surface. The ACP cladding supporting frame will be placed in position, leveled and fixed to the canopy column. The bottom ACP cladding pieces will be placed in position, leveled and fixed to the support frame structure. The supporting frame and the LED screen will be placed in position, leveled and fixed to the canopy column. The screen's front ACP cladding pieces will be placed in position, leveled and fixed to the support frame structure. The screen's rear ACP cladding pieces will be placed in position, leveled and fixed to the support frame structure. The top skirting pieces will be placed in position, leveled and fixed to the false ceiling panels. The top ACP cladding pieces will be placed in position, leveled and fixed to the support frame structure. The merchandising display units will be placed in position, leveled and fixed to the ACP cladding. The last step will be to test the LED screen and the LED lighting QC to make sure that everything is working correctly. The next activity would be the installation of the C-Store's interiors and exterior signs. The estimated time for this activity is about 10 days and can be planned parallel with the unipole installation and the canopy sign. Before we start the work, we will need to ensure that the building facade surface is completed and free of obstacles. The installation will start with the frame support installation that will be placed in position, leveled and fixed to the wall. The green ACP cladding pieces will be placed in position, leveled and fixed to the support frame structure. The 3D letters and the rest of the green ACP cladding pieces will be placed in position, leveled and fixed to the support frame structure. The green ACP cladding pieces will be placed in position, leveled and fixed to the support frame structure. The bakery sign will be placed in position, leveled and fixed to the supporting frame structure. Lighting QC check will also be done. The Fresh Plus sign will be placed in position, leveled and fixed to the supporting frame structure. Lighting QC check will also be done. The next activity would be the installation of the rest of the elements like air, water, parking and directional signs. The estimated time for this activity is 2 days and can be planned in parallel with the unipole installation and the canopy sign. Parking signs will be fully pre-assembled in the factory and installed following the approved shop drawings. Directional signs will be fully pre-assembled in the factory and installed following the approved shop drawings. The bollards will be fully pre-assembled in the factory and will be transported, unloaded, placed on the anchorage plate, leveled and installed following the approved shop drawings. The air and water element will be fully pre-assembled in the factory and will be transported, unloaded, placed on an anchorage plate, leveled and installed following the shop drawings. The described installation methodology will allow to achieve the completion of the works in 28 days. behalf of Blue Rhine Industries, thank you for your attention.